Okay. Well, hi everybody. My name is Malia Sanford. It's good to see you all. Some familiar faces in here from all of our local author series. So thanks for coming back and supporting Brenda tonight. I'm the programs manager at the Lopez Island Library, and I'm so pleased to welcome you and thank you for coming to this evening's program featuring local author Brenda Asterino, who is here to virtually celebrate her newest book, Pathways, Walking Through Creation, to her community here on Lopez. This is usually the moment where I show the book and hold it in my hands and show it to you guys, but the library copy is currently checked out, so I don't have my visual aid, but that's a good sign for you, Brenda.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
As many of you know, this program is part of our fall series of local author talks. Next up, in just a couple days this week, on Thursday at 6 o'clock, author Tor Hansen will be speaking about his new book, Hurricane Lizards and Plastic Squid, the fraught and fascinating biology of climate change. So come on back for that on Thursday if you're available, or you can watch the recording later. And then on December 7th, we will hear from Peter Kavanaugh, who will be sharing his newest collection of bird photography titled 100 Birds in Flight. And Peter will also have an art show at the library in conjunction with his author talk. So you can check out some of the photographs that are featured in his book. I'm assuming that those will be included in his show. So please save the dates, and you can already register for those programs since they are going to be over Zoom right now by heading over to the Lopez Library website. And then I also say this at every local author event, but I want to make sure in case there are any new local authors in attendance, just to let you know that if you are an author on Lopez and you're interested in sharing your work with the library audience, we welcome you to do so. Please get in touch with me over email. I'm currently working on our spring 2022 lineup of local authors and would be happy to include you. My email is just malia@lopezlibrary.org. Okay, and now on to our main event here. I'm so pleased to welcome author Brenda Asterino. Brenda worked as a private and public educator for nearly 25 years when her life was forever changed by a car accident. Her education includes an AA in humanities, a BS in biology, and an MA in education, along with many years of training in parapsychology, energy work, and body work. Brenda, is this your second or third book?
I think it's the fourth one.
The fourth one. Okay, well, congratulations. So Pathways is Brenda's fourth book. And after she shares a few passages from her book, we will open up the virtual floor to the audience for a Q&A. And you're welcome to do that either using the chat function, or you can raise your hand virtually by pressing on the reactions button and selecting raise hand. And I will call on you. So once again, thank you all for being here to celebrate Brenda, and just please join me in congratulating and welcoming her. Yay!
Thank you. Thank you to the Lopez Library for this opportunity. I'm very grateful, and thanks for all of you for coming. The first, there's the book. And the first poem, I thought I'd read What Glory, the Nature of Woman. Lichen shadowing, accentuating, as green multiplies on dull gray bark and skipping across to the tops of the cliffs of the carved expansion, changing size and shape with growth and age, always giving, providing food or shelter for other life. Women like those trees that never stop changing, are always expanding, renewing in different ways. The ultimate betrayal of ego is to give over to life. As with raw clay, the potential is the ultimate goal, and maybe why the feminine was worshipped long ago. Without submitting to life, there is only a death inside the skin, building walls within and without our lives, and in regard to our influence in the lives of others. Women are the juxtaposition, that flexibility of change, of hard and soft, sweet and salty, give and take. What glory to be born a woman. From another time, dazzle me, call to me, break me to heal, shake loose from the snare. What else can I feel? Shadows move with me, release them to ground as time opens up for love to abound. The center of spiral is with us right now. Circle my hand, roll of my hips, flow forth the love from my heart with a kiss. Nothing is lost, wholeness is gained as the power from feet rises again. So twirl and swirl, dance through the dream to knit up the time so we all can be seen. Sweep out the cobwebs, ache loose the pain, sing praise to all goodness without any shame. The dance never stops, the dance never slows. We might change the beat, but never the heat. This one is called The Long Gaze. I sit on the beach and look out upon the bay and farther. At rest and still lingering, wondering at the distance, marveling at the vastness. The long gaze out beyond the next island goes on for miles, sparking an inspiration that fills my lungs. It takes me to places between the space of this lifetime and others. Felt without thought, sensed with scenes and stray feelings within growing awareness. Is all time in the same place? I turn a degree to left or to the right, and other worlds await. Ancient Stones. This one was written after I heard one of the chiefs speak here on the island. In the daybreak, as breeze ruffles spruce, hear crows call frozen time. Smell the breathy sigh of those waiting for the thaw. As mist crouches upon paradise, see almost but not quite timeless faces torn from island community. Some do mistake stuck as spiritual, mired feelings, drugged numb. Lies are not healing. Truth and justice on the drums. names framed by cries, bones of the mother bleed for the children gone. Groans reshape the land, searing eyes flash vibrant flame, stones shine as passion reigns. Awakening from a dream. Awakening from a dream, not quite all the way. Confusion takes the lead, hoping for a better day. A moment changed the world, always lost in time, because there's no guarantees on this journey of the mind. There's something deep inside that beats and breaks and longs, struggling in the silence to play half-forgotten songs. Enjoying where you are helps to redefine there's nothing incomplete within God's own space and time. People hurt, people leave, find those who understand. Got to trust in angels, and it helps to hold a hand. What comes through our hearts? What are we to know? Did we learn and love enough? Have we touched another soul? Reunion of East and West. This was written after a conference I attended with, led by the Dalai Lama. Eagles have ancient memories of magnificent dragons. They cry the sound of timeless ages brought forth from harmonic heartbeat and benevolent breath, while rainbows form pillars between earth and the heavens, dawning a new doorway, illuminated by ancestral love. This one is called Fear. Fear is contagious. We all feel it. Our natural fear is useful to those who love power. Controlling fear through culture makes profit. Controlling fear through politics makes war. Some say it makes the world safe, but never does it make the world safe from fear. Lazy days, lazy days. Oh, lazy days, those slow and hazy days when I was crazy and in love with you. Pink carnation and spaghetti strap dress. All dreams were large and handsome, swivel hipped. Touching fingers stirred my body to yours. Our love was sweet, soft cheeked, smelling good. The time moved slowly and strength was renewed when I was crazy and in love with you. This one is called Inward Journey. without anticipation, from the dark belly of a nightmare, birthed COVID-19. Drastic measures to survive, stuck in the space of isolation, confines inside time. Self-reflection companion struggles to integrate then and now, exploding perceptions. As the people's needs advance, holes are punched into classic viewpoints. Paradigms shatter. Virus as catalyst puts a mirror to our cultural face, waking our action. Diversity is human. Hearts on fire for justice as wounds open minds. Courage strengthens our core, veils lift, and our eyes can see a new world is here. I had to write one about the fairy, right? Fairy music, 3D. Frothy white caps breaking surface as whipped cream crests strain and penetrate from out of the blue-green. Moments arrange the sequence of break and bubble, peak and shadow. We slide on top while worlds contrive below. Unaware or uncaring of islands, it is an atmosphere of liquid domination, of earthly matter and not. Music is apparent. Quarter notes play out among half notes, staccato and allegro. Most days there's no crescendo, so we think the ocean is silent, but it continually sings. I'm leaving out the racier stuff, so you can ask me about that later. Dimming. The moon bears her ample face. The sun releases his warmth. I hide my heart and steal away into the dark to cover my soul. We all ride the Milky Way, waiting till the next Big Bang, while silky Cygnus swims and spreads her wings, ancient wisdom slides into the dimming secret past. So I had a prayer left. Shall I stop there, Malia, or would you like me to read one or two more?
What if you did one more, Brenda?
Okay, so I'm 70, almost 74 actually, and I'm thinking about being on the other side of the bell curve. And so I wrote this prayer, hold my loved ones. Please hold my loved ones when I cannot. Please comfort their furrowed minds. If all seems lost, if they are alone when there is no respite. Please hold my loved ones when they have troubles. Please relieve their trembling limbs if they cannot stand in what is truth and justice is gone. Please hold my loved ones if they're abandoned. Please kiss the pain from their souls if they are not if they see not kindness from others, nor your countenance. Amen.
Well, thank you. I see people clapping and blowing you kisses, so that's nice. Thank you for sharing that. So now's the time if people would like to ask Brenda any questions. Looks like we have one raised hand. Judy, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yeah, thanks. So Brenda, the poem that spoke most to me was the one about fear. And so, because I think about that sometimes. And so what motivated it? If you can remember.
Yeah, there's lots of occurrences in my lifetime where people did not do what they knew was right. They went against what their gut and their heart said because they didn't want to be fired from their jobs. Or, I mean, we've had in our recent history where fear was used to rile people up.
Yeah.
And actually, that's happened multiple times in our history. I just rewatched the movie with Shirley MacLaine in it about the witches in Salem.
Oh, yeah.
The Puritans, and they used fear. Actually, some of it was based in what happens globally. People get people to go against other people because they want their land or their power or whatever, and so they call them witches or whatever. So fear has been used against us. It's really an inborn thing that's good because it keeps us from walking off cliffs, and
Right.
it makes us careful when we're out on ice. But culture, if it's not a healthy culture, uses it to against us or against other people. And I think we are more and more becoming aware of that. So a long answer.
No, thank you. That's great. Thanks.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Judy.
So Brenda, I wonder if you could share with us about your process of writing this book and putting it out into the world.
In the index of this book, beside the titles, is the year that it was written, or if I had to guess, it's the approximate year it was written. And I was cleaning out things because I was trying to get rid of all the stuff I have. And I was running across poems from the 1950s I wrote. So I thought, this is a good time to put together all these poems. And I learned things about myself as I did this, how my thinking and attitudes have changed, how some have stayed the same, but deepened in some ways or shifted angles. So this is the first book I've done that wasn't entirely just self-published. I took it, it's called a hybrid, and I took it to Sidekick Press, which I learned about it through the Bellingham Writers Group. And it worked out great because she is helping me get it out to more places. I'm doing podcasts. I did one last week that will show on 12 different podcasts in UK. So I can't wait to see if I sell books in UK or not. But putting it together was more of an ordeal than I thought it would be. I encourage everyone to start doing their things younger than I did. But it's also fun, and there's a lot of things you can pick from: the self-publishing, the hybrid, the traditional way. And the right publisher will help you find ways to get it out there more, much more than I could have done, than I did on my own when I just self-published.
Looks like we have 2 hands that are up. So I'll start with Lisa.
Okay, this is my Aunt Brenda, so I can't call her anything but Aunt Brenda. So
That's fine.
so good to see you, Aunt Brenda.
You, honey.
I got a question with regards to you going through the accident, which I do remember. And since you've been writing since the 1950s, did that close you down for a while? And then if it did, how did you open it back up? Because I also used to write when I was younger, and I don't write anymore. So I'm asking you maybe how to get started back up if that happened to you.
You heard one of the poems that I wrote after my head injury. And now that poem means more to me, because it also, I can look at people who've gone through the trauma the last couple of years with COVID and the job situation and the national situation, and I can say, oh my gosh, they're acting like somebody who's had a head injury. The stress is like a temporary head injury. So, okay, and then how did I get it back? Yes, in some ways I lost it. I lost the old way of doing it. It's the same with my art. I lost the old way of doing it. But as I found ways to get more into my right brain and quiet the chatter of the left brain, which is very good for multiple reasons, I was able to get back to it. And a lot of what I'm writing for this, and then also I'm working on a novel right now, is I kind of plant a seed. Either while I'm riding the ferry and looking at the water, I just get real relaxed and I don't think, I just write. Or I plant a seed. I say, okay, I want this character to be like this and this, and I want them to be able to express that. And I wake up with ideas. So I let my right brain do more of the work. It still takes a lot of work. Aaron's sitting there and he knows. It still takes a lot of work in rewrites, but I'm getting the core down that way.
That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, and I also see that Iris has a question. Iris, if you want to unmute yourself.
Hi, Brenda. Congratulations on your latest book.
Thank you, Iris.
And thank you for sharing some of it with us. I always love to hear authors read their own work. I'd like to know a little bit more about the cover of the book, and wondering how much input you had on that, and just, you know, what that process was like for you, and what the cover symbolizes for you.
Okay, that's a good question. And Iris is an author too, so I appreciate her being here too. Pathways, the book cover, what Lisa Daly is the name of the publisher. And what she did was, after reading through everything, she came up with ideas. She asked me to come up with ideas. And most of the ideas were composites of more than one picture, like a picture overlaid by another picture. Or that happened and then we changed the coloring. This was much darker originally, and I wanted more blues. So it was a cooperative process, and anything that I said, no way, Jose, on, she took off. So it was a cooperative process, but I have to say the creativity mostly came from her.
Thank you. I'm glad that you had such a positive experience with the cover, because I'm sure you've talked to other authors that sometimes people have some very traumatic experiences with covers. Not,
Yes.
they say you can't judge a book by its cover, but we all know people do. And I'm so happy for you that you had such a good collaborative experience. It's a beautiful cover.
Thank you. The cover is, when I go into a bookstore, the cover is why I pull a book and look at it. So, yep, it's important.
Okay, I also see that Sally has raised her hand.
Hi, Sally.
Hi there. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's good to be here. So a question I have is, I know that this is poetry that you were just reading, but you're not working on currently a book of poetry. How do you see what you're working on currently compared to the poetry book? Seems more like you were culling through and putting together things that you had written over a span of time. So you had a lot of things to choose from, but it sounds like the new book that you're working on is, if I understand correctly, something that's going to be more than one book. And how did you, I guess to me, it's like someone who is just writing poetry and looking at trying to write something else. It seems like a huge step. So was it a huge step for you to work on something different, or you just see it more as exploring things that, just where you feel you want to go with your writing, I guess. So
that's a good question. And Sally's also an author and gets into all kinds of creative aspects with her author, and she's a great networker between creative people. I guess what came to mind when you were talking about that is that I have always felt like I wanted to speak up about things, but at different times in my life with all of us, we feel we have to ameliorate it or shut ourselves down a bit with some of that. So I'm free now to do whatever I want to do. But I also see the real estate agents have a word, time is of the essence. I also feel time is of the essence. And there's a lot of things that we need to do things about for our children and our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren. So I let those feelings, I sit with them and I'm okay with them. And I let them come forth in either the poetry or the stories. And right now, building a different kind of culture and community is unifying community is so important globally that is my motivation. Those are the feelings that I allow to go ahead and simmer and boil a little bit. And that gives me an intense direction then to put it into writing. And that's kind of the only way I know how to answer that. So I guess if I need to expand something, you'll have to ask me another question. Okay.
Okay, I see that my coworker Claudia has a question. Wait, hold on. There you go.
Hi, Brenda.
Hi.
Sorry, you put my video on here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for sharing your poems with us.
Thank you.
I noticed that through your poems and through some of your work that you've had here at the library, there's such a strong sense of kind of a spirituality through them. So, and I'm wondering, like, what does that look like for you? What does that mean for you? That kind of this, even as you went by and dedicated a prayer, like, what are kind of those themes about, I guess?
Okay, and that's a good question, because to me, spirituality means real truth and justice. To me, prayer probably was originated to unify people so that people in the community could work for a common goal. They could unite themselves with an umbrella of that prayer or that connection with something that was bigger than themselves. Excuse me. So that's one aspect, but I also see, and there's poems in here about this more specifically, there's all kinds of interconnectedness between humanity and everything else. And we were kind of robbed of that. We were kind of culturally stymied in seeing it that way, because there were other agendas and other goals. So I think our survival in the coming years has to be grounded in being more aware of our interconnectedness from the inside of us to the outside, even to the point of, did you know for every one human cell you have in your body, you have 10 bacterial cells? And if those bacterial cells aren't working right, you cannot reach your full potential as a human being. So there's all this interconnectedness that is never made very apparent to us, even more so than our need to have the earth be well enough to nurture the human race. I mean, it's on such a big level. And the truth and justice part, there's poems in here about that too, is that each person, even though our culture likes to say, well, there's individual truth and then there's the truth, but those individual truths, without them being spoken, we don't know what needs to be fixed in our culture. We don't know what some people need as compared to other people because of where they live or what their talents are, whatever. So spirituality, I guess, is a part of me because of my need to see truth come out, voices be heard, which you're letting me do here today, and that we listen to other people's truth. Okay, did I say enough on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oops. Sorry, we're sitting close to each other, so we got a little feedback there.
Thank you.
I'm curious to hear about if you have a daily writing practice. I know that writing is partially a sort of muscular workout and that you need to continue strengthening and flexing those muscles to keep the juices flowing. And I'm always curious to hear what authors' daily practices are around writing.
Okay, So I think that's a good question. And the reason I'm really grateful to Aaron is because we're in a critiquing group together. And that keeps me flowing so that I do keep reminding myself to get something down on paper. However, and maybe it's because I'm ADD, however, there's a part of me that I cannot put myself in a box and do something over and over again at the same time every day. And I find that I volunteer with the Red Cross. I do other volunteer work. There's other things I do. I need to clean every once in a while. So I need to do those things because the physicality of some of it is the thing that releases the tension so the writing flows better. For other things like the volunteer work, I'm getting down in gut level what's really going on in the world. And I need that grounding. I need to get out of me in writing what my body says I need to put on paper, or my mind says I need to put on paper, because I clarify a lot to myself when I write. So it is important to make sure you write, but how often it is, I think, depends on your temperament and how you're able to organize yourself. I have some internal machinations that won't let me not finish something. So if I go on a tangent, I'm going to get pulled back because I can't leave certain things unfinished. But I may need other experiences to help me pull together in a way that readers will like. I may need those other experiences to help me frame that to get it written down. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Life experience counts for me.
Mhm.
It counts. Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
Well, I'll give people a chance to think of any final burning questions for you, and just ask, how could people access your book in addition to coming to the Lopez Library?
You can get it through the Lopez Bookshop. It's on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and also at Village Books. So yes.
Right.
And if anybody wants their book signed, let me know.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Brenda, for sharing your work, and to everyone else for joining to celebrate your new work, and congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
Yeah.
And thank you, Lopez Library.
It's our pleasure. Okay. Bye, everybody. Have a wonderful evening.